Finding your passions. You will have many interests. Few of those will be passions, and even fewer of those will be deep passions.
Welcome to my show, Resetting Your Life. My name is Ned Lips. I'm the author of Reset, a story about Sarah's journey from hell to hero, from fearful to utterly fearless, in a world where everything man-made has been removed from the face of the earth. And First Steps, in which Sarah escapes from her brutal, abusive marriage, narrowly getting away with her life and her 2 daughters. My third book, Entwined, continues Sarah's journey to trust and to love as she moves the family forward in a world dominated by pure nature. You can find them on Amazon by searching Ned Lips, Nedlips, or through my website, nedlips.com.
After last week, you've begun your journal and you've started to enter data in it. What things that have randomly happened to you over the last week that you found that you either loved or what you hated? What have people that are closest to you said about you, told you about yourself, helped you along your journey that help you gauge what they think you're passionate about or that you hate to do? You made your list of things to do at work, at home, any other situations that are relevant to you. And you've rated them between 1, horrible, you hate them, to 5, you love to do those tasks. Maybe you're not quite done yet in 1 week, and that's fine. This should be an ongoing process. So just keep going. You'll learn and more about yourself as you go along every day. And you're listening to your soul as we go along, doing what you know is right for you, and exploring with your heart open and your brain searching for the things that you know that you love in your life or that you think you love. Trust your heart, as Sarah realizes she must in Entwine. This is on page 91 in a conversation with her daughter Jazz.
Mom, I'm a little scared, especially after what happened with Dad. I mean, Mark's sweet and totally harmless. He'd never do anything like that to me. I like that about him. But still, what if when I want to do it with someone, that whole thing, comes back? Sarah thought about this for a moment. I don't really know, honey. Your father was brutal to me, as you know. But when I was with Tom, it all felt right. It was real and sweet and wonderful. The images of your father doing things to me never came up. Sex should be lovemaking, special and tender, but raucous and fun and crazy sometimes, too. It's that way with Tom. It was never that way with your father. So I guess you need to let yourself feel and do what you know in your heart is right. Trust the universe of spirits in this like anything else. Jazz donned a bright smile and guided Sergio towards Sarah. She reached out and put a hand on her thigh, gazing lovingly into Sarah's eyes. Thanks, Mom. Sarah had dreaded the discussion, but it turned out to be a wonderful interchange that brought the two closer, perhaps than ever before. Then Jazz, to whom she'd always been connected, said, Mom, I hope you listen to your own advice. Jazz winked. Sarah stared at her daughter. Does she feel my conflict and confusion with Tom? Either way, she's right.
As you focus on finding your passions, your soul will begin to help you along that path. And so will your brain. Your brain knows you. It's lived with you your entire life. You've been programming it. You see the world through it. It interprets the data of the world for you. And it allows you to understand what's going on around you. And it knows you. Consider when you're busy. Never mind. Consider when you buy that really cool red F-150 pickup that you get for the very first time. Before that, you may not have hardly seen any of them. But after that, you see everyone that passes by. Why? Because you've trained your brain to look for it. You've immersed yourself in the buying process, and your brain now looks for that car, and it sees it over and over and over. This is exactly what it will do for you when you begin to identify what things you love, what things bring you joy in life. So, as you think about things that you believe will turn you on, that you might be passionate about, those events and opportunities and those things that have been there all along will appear in your life. You'll notice them suddenly and more often. At this point is when you decide whether or not to take advantage of those opportunities, to get involved in those tasks. That is the province of your soul. Your brain sees, it finds things, it searches the world around you, it identifies opportunities that you might be interested in because you've triggered your brain to do that. Your soul will tell you whether this opportunity is truly right for you. If you know in your heart, when you see an opportunity, when you decide to perform a task, when something comes upon you, that it is right to do it. No matter what anybody else says or what seems the common convention in the world. If, even though your brain has identified it as a place of potential joy, if your soul tells you don't do it, don't. It won't lead you farther along the path toward your passions. Eventually, you'll wander into a group and a places that feel like home. You'll find a book or an article that you cannot put down. People you don't know will fall into your life and they'll provide you guidance. Some may become your guide or a mentor or a deep friend, a confidant, or even a partner in your business venture. You may find the person that complements your passions, that person who loves to do the tasks that you hate to do, but which have to be done if you're going to drive your passions forward. This is a really fun period in this process. It's exploration. Try things, do things, read, watch, follow, listen, and feel things. As you become more deeply connected along the path toward finding your passions, the road will become clearer. There will be fewer forks, there will be fewer side streets that distract you, and you'll know whether you should go down that fork or ignore those forks, because you'll begin to be more confident in your own path. You'll begin to deepen your passions, clarify your passions, and begin to understand what you truly love in life. Take your time, because it takes time, but believe in yourself every step of the way. Our guest today is Lindsay Wanner, a wonderful St. Louis artist who I've come to get to know in the last couple of months. Lindsay does really a unique kind of art, but as interesting is kind of her story as to how she decided to become an artist. So you find Lindsay's work, her artwork, her is at Lindsay, LindsayWanner.com. So you get things there and you kind of get an idea. So Lindsay, tell us a little bit about what you used to do and kind of your journey into doing what you do today, and then we'll talk a little bit about your artwork.
Yeah, so basically, if you want me to go really far back,
not to your birth. We should be later.
Yeah, no. But as far as like my career, it's funny because like I actually got pregnant right out of high school, and so my plans had like really changed right away. And I was a stay-at-home mom for about like 6 years in a row, and I kind of dabbled in different things, but I wasn't really like finding what was like my true calling or anything. But I think the biggest influence at that time was that my mom and my sister both had like corporate jobs, and so they were like, you know, these really strong, independent women like bringing in really good salaries. And I thought, well, that was what I wanted for myself, is I wanted to be able to like bring in a lot of money. I guess I felt like maybe that was my way to prove my worth, is that I could be like a successful, like working mom. And so I I got a job at AT&T and the Yellow Pages division, which it's funny. People are always like, "Is that still alive?" but I actually worked there for 10 years, and I got some like really good sales and marketing experience under my belt. Um, and and I thought I was doing what I wanted to do because I was making so much money. Like here I was in my 20s, I had 3 kids, and I was just like making all this money, like literally like 6 figures. And I thought, wow, what are we gonna do with this? Um, and then I got laid off because the Yellow Pages is a dying industry. And not that I didn't see it coming. We were doing things to like protect, like to work into different, avenues and stuff. But ultimately, they just laid off my entire department. And at that point, I had already had this little side hustle of being an artist, and it was really a good thing that I did because while all these other people were just like in detriment because they lost their jobs and there was like no promise of like no stipend or whatever they do to pay you when you leave. There wasn't that either.
Right.
Kind of like bye. I go, I think I'm going to try to do this full time. Like I know it kind of sounds crazy. I might just stay at home and do art full time, but like, and I remember, thinking like I could totally go broke in like a couple hours. I don't even know, but like I knew that I just wanted to give it a try. And like it's a really good thing that I did because now I'm doing art full time, as you know, and it's like you can just tell that it's what I love to do. Like my passion is pouring out in every piece I do. And I think the good part about that like entire story is that like I learned a lot from being at the Yellow Pages. Like I got the business experience, the marketing experience. I'm not afraid to talk to people face to face. Like I still have to sell artwork. And I think that whole like experience really helped to create my brand now and give me the confidence to like just start doing something totally on my
So that's a great story. So many people just follow the path that your mother took, the path that your sister took, the path that just seemed like the path.
Yeah.
And they have a good enough life, but then it either they blow it up or it blows up on them, and it blew up on you.
Right.
And you were sort of allowed or freed up to follow your actual passion.
I would have never done it like on my own because here I was with this 6-figure job. I had insurance for my family of 5. I mean, everything was great except for the fact that I was sitting at a desk every day and really not doing what makes me happy. So I think at a certain point you just like, I mean, obviously I knew that I liked art because I was doing it on the side, but like I didn't want to take the chance and be like, I'm going to quit my job.
You're right.
I don't know. Like it was like a blessing in disguise. I don't really want to get into like too much religion talk, but I don't really believe in God per se. And so like, I don't think that was like a blessing that came upon me from God, but I do I do think that it was a pretty big blessing in some way from the universe. Like, hey, here you go, Lindsay, like go try out your thing full time.
Sort of guidance, if not a blessing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, you have a very unique way of making art. You use a whole bunch of different mediums. So tell us a little bit about, behind you is Muhammad Ali, your right side behind you is your Joker, which are both incredibly cool in person. You need to see her stuff in person because it's 3-dimensional and really intriguing. So tell us a little bit about how you make your art and how did you come up with that great idea?
Yeah, so when I was working at the Yellow Pages, I kept finding myself like on Pinterest just looking around at different things, and I saw like a baseball flag made out of baseball bats and baseballs, and I'm like, man, that's cool. And my husband does construction, and so like it was made out of wood, obviously, and I'm like, we could try to make that. And so I kind of got my husband on board, and we just like spent an entire weekend like cutting baseball bats and baseballs. There was no blueprint to it. I literally did like reverse engineering to just figure out how to make this thing. And it was just supposed to be for us. And I made it, and like I posted it on Facebook, and then like everyone wanted one. And then all of a sudden I became like the flag girl, and I was making like baseball flags and golf flags, and it was like flags everywhere.
St. Louis Blues flag, we saw it.
Yeah, but like it always bothered me that it wasn't really like my idea because I didn't really like set out to start this business based on that. And so I'm like, man, I got to come up with something that's like really originally mine, you know? And so I kept looking at Pinterest and like looking for inspiration. And I noticed that I just like really loved music and sports stuff. And obviously with the upcycling or recycling of like materials with the baseball bats, I was like, how can I like make something different? And I saw a picture of Prince, and it was like you could see like layers of it in a graphic design, like illustration kind of way. I think it's called a vector image. But you can see layers, and I was like, man, I could like make that picture out of, you know, some kind of music related materials. And I remember my mom looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I'm gonna make prints out of records. She was like, okay, Lindsay, like, whatever you do. And it took me so long the first few times. Like I was like breaking things and burning myself because I use a hot knife, and I would just like, it was just a disaster, and it took forever. And finally, like I mastered like the process of how to layer records. So basically I take vinyl records, cut them, and then like layer them in a way that's my canvas. Like I can paint it and you can see like a portrait from far away.
Right. And you use record album covers, the covers, right? And
Yeah,
then behind you, Muhammad Ali is made a whole different way.
yeah, so I just kept rolling with it. I'm like, what else would be an original idea? And I kind of like really thrive on like doing things that no one else has done. So I'm like, I could do pictures of athletes out of like their relevant, I mean, like their sports equipment. And so I started making like boxers out of punching bags, which has like never been done before. And that like makes me so proud to know like I'm the only one doing it. That's why when people ask me, how are you doing it? Or can you tell us exactly how you do it? I'm like, no. No. Like it took me a long time to figure this out.
Yeah, it's really cool. So he's made out of punching bags and a bunch of other things like the gloves and things. But anyway, it's amazing that you look behind you and you see all the places where those colors are different or whatever. Those are layers of different kinds of punching bags, and then you paint on top of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. And
Thank
you can
you.
look. So what is the Joker made of there behind you?
So Joker, I saw the movie and I was a huge fan. I actually am not like a big comic book person or anything, but for whatever reason that movie kind of like struck me. I think it's because it's kind of like takes you on a wild ride, and that's what I appreciated about it. But I wanted to make a piece of the Joker, but I didn't know like what to do because other people have done comic book art before where they take comic books and they create portraits from them. And so I didn't want to do it that way. And then when they broke the box office record, I was like, I can use records because the records are kind of like my thing. And whenever I can put it into like a portrait, somehow I want to do that. So, and I use the album covers to cut out like letters of H and A. And so when you get close up on the letters that spell Joker, they're actually little tiny letters of ha 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 ha.
Ah, very cool, very cool. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for being on with me. When do you have any shows? I went to a show a month ago or so. Do you have any other shows coming up?
A lot of people have asked me that. There was a lot of planning that went into that show.
I bet it was a very cool show.
Thanks. It was almost like planning a wedding. And so I think maybe I'll do it once a year as far as that like level of a show. But I might do one in the spring or summer that's a little bit more of like a pop-up kind of event.
Sure.
But other than that, like I do a lot of social media advertising, as you know, because that's how we got connected. So I like to show like as many pictures and videos of what I'm doing all the time on my Instagram or Facebook. And then obviously my website is where people go to shop. So
there you go. So this is Lindsay, Lindsay, Wanner, Wanner. She is a St. Louis artist, and her work is really amazing and very, very unique. So I highly recommend you check it out. And thank you very much for talking to us about your journey, which is very cool. And I look forward to seeing you become world famous.
we can only hope. Thank
That's
you so
right.
much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for watching my video podcast, Resetting Your Life. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the little button and the bell so that you will be notified when the next episode is posted. Tell all your friends, relatives, and countrymen, and share to your social media if you'd be so kind. I'm told I'm supposed to ask all of you to do that for me. I'd love to have you like my Facebook page, Ned Lips Author, to keep up with my blog posts and writing endeavors. You can read the text of my portion of this program and find more at my blog. You can only get the interviews here though. Sorry about that. You can find all of my books at my Amazon author page. Please follow me by clicking the button. And after you've read any of my books or listened to them on Audible, please post a review. Thank you again, and I wish you a wonderful life as you explore your passions, exploit your superpowers, and find your joy.